This is Bill Scheid, and I have the honor and privilege of being with my mentor, Dr. Ken Long from Tortoise Capital. And today we are talking about the idea of simplicity as an edge. Ken, thanks so much for taking the time to connect on this topic with me.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Bill. Always a treat to work with you and looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. So we have this shared belief that simplicity is an edge when it comes to trading and investing systems. And I think that may fly against some of the beliefs or cognitive biases that a lot of traders and investors have. I think the default mode is, well, if it's so simple, how could it possibly work? So the question then really becomes, why is simplicity an edge? And I've listed a few here, and I would really love to hear your input on on these reasons. And I know that you have a lot of expertise, especially in this first one, based on your background in the Army, clear and confident decision making. Do you have any color you want to add to that?
Yeah, if you take a look at the top level processes of plan, prepare, execute, assess, you can think of decision making as the plan and prepare, and then execution being the action that you take once you've committed to that decision. Assessment, if we're lucky enough to survive, allows us to learn forward from whatever event we just went through. Uh, so the simpler and cleaner and more standardized you can make your plan and prepare, it's a shorter distance to execution. There's fewer things to go wrong, less time, less effort in simplicity. So getting rid of the non-value added steps makes it just a faster, smoother process, and you can often get the time savings in your advantage to your advantage by being the first mover. So if it's clear and you have reasons to be confident about it, it can certainly lead to improved decision making.
And I love that you said plan, prepare, execute, success, because the second reason on the list is a system with fewer rules with or more simple rules is easier to execute.
Yeah, fewer steps, fewer places to go wrong. Always knowing where you are in the process. Clear next steps. That's definitely what you want.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And that what you just said actually ties into the third reason, which is reduced errors, less opportunity to make mistakes.
Oh, it's like Back to the Future again. Yeah. There's fewer ways to go wrong, and by being able to concentrate on fewer steps, simpler steps, you can engineer error trappers or freedom from error in your procedures. Fewer things to go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said reminds me of what Dr. Van Tharp used to talk about a lot, and that's the impact that mistakes and errors can have on our trading, and tracking that based on your R multiples, and how even just one mistake can have a huge impact on your overall results.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you have a system that you have a lot of belief in and a lot of evidence for that belief, there's a natural urge to try to trade that at the largest size possible because you have a justified true belief that the thing should work. One of the consequences of that is that if you do make mistakes, it's going to compound because you're trading at a larger position based on your confidence level. So the better you get at your system, the more effective the system is. Ironically, that makes the errors more consequential because you've engineered out all the slack. So we definitely want to be concerned with trying to be as error free in the entire plan, prepare, execute, assess as we can.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the next reason that we have on the list is if our rule set is simple, we have fewer degrees of freedom, and so there's less of likelihood that we've overfit the system to historical data.
Yeah, that's the real danger with what I would think of as excessive back testing. When you are working from one data set and you're trying to get rules that work the best for that data, there's an urge to try to be perfect in it. And that what you end up with is a set of rules that was perfect for the test set. And it may not survive contact with a dynamic world that's changing. So simplicity actually can give you more cushion for the market to adapt and to evolve, and you're not overfitting, and that simplicity really works to your advantage to be robust, which is valid for a wide set of possible futures. You definitely want that in your system.
Yes, and you've actually led us once again perfectly to the very next point that we have here, robust performance. And I heard you say
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
how are we gonna survive contact with the actual market in real time? And I know for me personally, as a trader, as an investor, robust performance is a very important psychological component of being able to trade my rule set and not make mistakes, not second guess it, not follow the rules essentially.
Yeah, it's like I have this perfect complicated rule set. The only downside is it works one day out of the year, and you don't know which one because it's overfit or it's too complicated. So yeah, we want to be able to take our simple rules to work every day and react to what the market is doing, and still have an effective system to work. I've got something to do every day with a simple rule set that adapts to what the market's doing. So
Yeah,
certainly, yeah, that's robustness.
absolutely. And the next point is reduced cognitive load. And again, just looking at my own experience as a trader and an investor, I think cognitive load is one of the big hidden costs of trading that we tend to overlook. And I think having a simple system really helps in this aspect.
I think the key point I'd make on that is if you watch lions hunt, they pick out their target from among the wide herd and they focus on that one, and everything is geared to securing that target. Like they'll run past other things because they're so dialed in on what it is that they're looking for. So they have a much better success rate with that than if you just run at the whole herd and you get distracted by everything that's going on because you're not focused. So the reduced cognitive load really comes from being able to lock in on your target, knowing exactly what you want to do, and then managing your own process and your attention and trusting the rules to do what they have to do. So that it gets you out of your head and more into your hands, if you will. Like you've taught me for many years, you trust your hands. They
Yeah.
know how to play, and um, and you let your brain descend into your hands, which is really you executing the trade. So, yeah, you're playing the same patterns that you've always played, and you can just let that happen instead of trying to overthink each and every move.
Yes, exactly. And then when we're not trying to overthink every move, we also have a reduced emotional load, which connects back to the idea of reduced errors. When we don't have that emotional pressure, we're more likely to follow our rules and not make mistakes.
Yeah, those emotions arise out of our subconscious reaction to new information that's surprising.
Yeah.
If you're not really locked into your rule set, you're really paying extra attention to all the things that are going on around you, even outside of your rules. Every one of those represents an opportunity for your fight or flight syndrome to introduce more emotion. That takes energy, it takes away from your performance. So by being locked in on your simple systems, you can concentrate on smoothness, and you're not going to be as vulnerable to the surprise emotions when the market starts blipping around. You always want to be in front of that, and use that energy that comes out of the emotion into concentration, focus, and next steps. So yeah, both of those loads are putting a claim on your emotional bank account. It takes mental energy to think, it takes emotional energy to respond. We want to be able to be normal and regular and simple and keep those costs low. It's almost the same as, reducing your brokerage fee for playing. There's a certain cost that's going to be there, but you want to try to minimize that if you're trading a lot. So, yeah, reducing that load is crucial.
Yes, definitely. And then when we have more bandwidth, we can focus on what's really important. And this is something that I feel really thankful that I've learned from you. You have such an amazing focus on risk management, and it's made such a difference in my own trading and investing. And I think when we reduce our cognitive and emotional load, then we can focus on risk management, which is so critically important.
Yeah, I mean, the rules will execute themselves, and all you got to do is keep the thing between the lines on the road. And so when you have very clear boundaries, then you can pay attention to your relative position there and trust the car to drive itself. That thing is running smoothly because you've tuned it up, you've done all the services on it. It's prepared to operate. You can then trust that machine. You can trust that rule set to behave correctly, and then your job is just to keep it between the lines, and you always know where you are in that system, and then you can actually leverage that simplicity, and then you just concentrate on your exits and your adjustments, and you trust the machine to do its thing. That's so simple, definitely better.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And as an example of the way that simplicity can show up as a very powerful edge, we're about to take a look at the results from one of our monthly systems. This one's called PMA SSO, and it has exactly three rules. I heard you one time say that this type of system is caveman simple, and
Right.
this is a system that I designed based on an idea that I learned from you back in 2011. I took it home, researched it, started trading it, and now it's one of our second generation monthly systems. So let's take a look at the numbers here. And I'd be really interested to hear your reflection on these results. So of course we have three columns here, the results for S&P buy and hold, 60/40 buy and hold. So that's a diversified all world stock bond portfolio. And then we have the results of PMA SSO. And this is going all the way back to 2007. So we have the financial crisis of '08 in here. We have the pandemic crash, and we have everything in between. Any reflections on these numbers?
Well, those are not surprising. One of the things that you'll notice is that the PMA, even though it gets triple the return in terms of total return percentage, it does so at a much reduced risk of maximum drawdown. The maximum drawdowns are the ones that cause people to abandon their rules, which is worse than having no rules at all, is to have them and then not use them, because then you get to experience regret when you saw what your knee-jerk response did to it. So understanding your system, both the costs and the benefits, is reflected inside here. The expectancy is excellent. The that simple line of the compounded annual growth rate is just astonishingly important. How much better those few simple rules do it. It keeps you in the market during normal times. It exploits the positive returns of the market, but it protects you against those periodic irrational negative selling moments when people lose their mind, and it also gets you back in quicker than it than a person who abandoned ship might naturally do that, because there's two problems with not having the rules and then responding to market meltdowns is that they stay too long, and then when they get out it's near the bottom, and then they remember that going forward, so they're reluctant to participate on the way up, so you get all of the downside and not all of the upside, and that's where the typical emotional response will come from. The rules allow you to weather that storm and to be consistent in a disciplined way all the way through many different market types. And that SQN and expectancy are excellent, and not surprised at all with the total returns and the versus the drawdowns. That's a rock solid system. Okay.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you again for being my mentor and for creating the first generation of these systems. For everyone watching these videos, if you haven't checked out Ken's work, you can find him at tortoisecapital.net. He is the original creator of the monthly systems as I first learned them. And all the second generation systems are available at appliedfinanceresearch.com. We have courses on the PMA system and several other monthly systems. Ken, thanks again so much for taking the time.
Awesome, buddy. Much love to the family and see you on down the road.
Thank you.